Alright guys, here we go. Advanced factory placement. Now, you may notice that I've already set up on a barren planet. You can set up on any planet for your advanced factory planet, it doesn't matter, because you're not going to be extracting resources, but if you're running low on a specific type, you can find a planet such as the barren or the plasma that you have an extra of that you're not even using, and you can extract resources on the side to kind of boost your productivity and your efficiency when you're running, and it also prevent you from having to run as many resources, so it may cut down on the amount of times you have to warp to the customs office. So with that being said, I went ahead and I've already placed my command center, and I do not believe it's upgraded. Let me find out real quick. Alright, here we go. Now, I'm sorry for the choppy frame rate. I'm actually currently finishing one movie up, and yep, it's already upgraded. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and place a grand total of 4 advanced factories, and I'm going to place a 5th advanced factory, which will produce our final product, which is robotics. So give me 1 second, and I will come back in a minute. Alright, here we go. Now, I'm going to go ahead and select my 5th advanced factory. This is going to be the final stop and manufacturing point for your final product, which is hopefully robotics at this point, because if you're not creating robotics, you're looking at the wrong tutorial. There she is right there. I'm going to go ahead and install. And it's only producing 3 robotics per cycle, which is 1 hour. But it's going to require 10 units of mechanical parts and 10 units of consumer electronics, hence why the need for 2 advanced factories per semi-finished product, which means you'll be 100% efficient and you will not have to come back here until the resources you drop off from the previous run is completely depleted. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and route the finished product to the start port. And now, here comes the fun part. Now, once you have this all set up, you can't actually physically route anything else until you drop off the necessary resources to make those semi-finished parts, and as such, you cannot be producing robotics. So, while you're waiting on interplanetary consolidation rank 4, you can be extracting the ores and refining them into semi-finished products. So when you get to this point, you have a large stockpile saved up. So I'm going to go ahead and take a break because I need to go run back and pick up the stockpile of semi-finished resources that I have to show you the final part of this tutorial. Now once I did that, you may notice, if I can get this screen to stop spinning, that these outer colored brackets are now solid versus these are kind of, shadowed out. Now, this is indicating that both of the 2 refined minerals are present, and the white ring is still blinking. That's because I haven't finished the submit. Okay, so once we submit, you'll notice a slight change. Hey, look, the rings around the 2 advanced factories for consumer electronics are no longer blinking, and you'll actually notice as their cycle continues, a white ring will actually grow around this, indicating the cycle status. The closer it is to completing a full circle, the closer it is to being finished with that cycle. Alright, now that we have that set up, I'm going to go into my start port, and this is how you route all of those minerals that are moving around, and you're going to route the finished product, which by clicking on the routes icon, you'll notice that you're incoming 3 robotics, but you don't have any resources outgoing. So you'll notice we have doubles here of the 2 semi-finished parts that robotics requires. So I'm going to go ahead and route all of these to that final advanced factory. Okay, so I'm going to do this quickly. You should have a basic grasp on how these things work. So, if I go through it too fast, please pause, rewind, whatever you got to do. to make sure you get the entire aspect of this. Alright, you'll notice now that I have it set up, and the way that we know that it's set up is we have the launchpad selected, and in here you'll see that everything is being routed correctly by the fact that you see 10 mechanical parts and 10 consumer electronics being transferred to the last final advanced factory making the robotics. Now, because there haven't actually been any of those parts manufactured, and the way we can tell is there is none in storage. So as soon as the available amounts become available, they will automatically transfer to the advanced factory making the robotics, and as a return during that cycle, 3 robotics will be deposited into the storage, which is why you want to try to keep your storage capacity between 55 and 60% full, so you'll have room for all that extra stuff coming in. And that is how you produce robotics in a 3-part series. I may end up showing a bonus section, but because I didn't survey this planet before I placed all these factories, I'm not even sure I'm capable of producing excess minerals that I may be lacking from the other planets. So if there is an additional excerpt at the end of this bonus area, then that's because I was lucky enough to be lucky, I guess. And here's your bonus. You may have noticed that I've already done some scanning, and I was lucky enough to set up right next to I've actually set up right next to a Noble Metals hotspot. Not the highest concentration, but considering this is basically free additional amount, I may be able to set up a tertiary production line for precious metals from these noble metals. So I'm going to go ahead and set up using part 1 and 2 as my basis, so you will see the final result of the installation or the production line once I get finished. Alright, so here we are. It looks a little different. This is a little bug up here. I don't know why that's still showing up, but you can notice that I'm set up on a really convenient hotspot of noble metals, and it's coming to my extractor head unit located here, which is then being transported to here. Now, as such, the excess that's going into here from this extractor head unit will be going to make precious metals, which precious metals are required to make consumer electronics. So I've just boosted my efficiency, and I'm still not at maximum capacity at this planet for power grid. So what you're seeing me do is actually route the extra noble metals from, if it'll cooperate, from the launch pad to the basic factory. You have to place a basic factory because that's how you make refined minerals that are made for semi-finished materials such as consumer electronics and mechanical parts. Now you'll have to scroll probably all the way down till you see the extra little bonus mineral that you're generating. You're going to create a route again to your basic factory, which is right there. Click Create Route, close the window, submit, and voila, you are now generating. Wait, it's not doing something right. Okay, there we go. Alright, so we're good to go. I've got noble metals being routed to here. Actually, no, I don't. I have precious metals going to here. See, this is why you have to pay attention. Give me 1 second. Alright, so while I corrected the issue, I noticed that I was generating or extracting 50,000 of the precious metal or noble metals per cycle, but I was only using 3,000, so I was going to have a huge excess amount. So I took the extra CPU, which you'll notice I'm now at 90% of my capacity. I might be able to even run another basic factory, but let's see how this goes, because remember, you're only working with 10,000 cubic volume storage at the launch pad. Now we have a grand total of 7 factories running off of 1 launch pad. So hopefully all the math was done right, and we won't run into any issues. But there you go. You are now actually producing above and beyond what Blackhawk and I originally set out to do this video / guide for. So in doing so, I will post the actual numbers when I can sit down and do the math, but this is how you make robotics with a small bonus to income, using 5 planets and the skills remote sensing 3, interplanetary consolidation 4, command center upgrades rank 3, and planetology is not a requirement, but it is helpful. So there you go.